Lisa A. Romano, the Breakthrough Life Coach, and today I want to talk about why so many of us feel crazy, why so many of us feel off, and what is one thing that we can do today, that you can start doing today, that can help you feel more centered in your own skin. So what's the whole reason that we're born? In my humble opinion, the whole reason that we're born is to learn how to be. Simple enough, right? We're human beings, but how many of us are comfortable just being? I know it wasn't until I was in my mid-30s that I started to understand this stuff. That was a long ass time ago. It's taken me a long time to get to this point. I'm going to be 54 soon. Now I'm ready to have a child because now I'm pretty sure I wouldn't screw them up, you know? Now I'm pretty sure I get it. It's not about me, it's about the kid. It's not about my emotions, it's about keeping my emotions in check and being able to give this child ultimately what they need, right? I didn't grow up that way. I made a lot of mistakes early on when I was raising my children. And it's taken me a ton of humility, definitely helps to get to a point where you begin to be able to forgive yourself and figure out what you did that was wrong. I didn't know that the way I was being was wrong. It was all I knew. So what did I know? I knew chaos. I knew trying to control everything. I knew stuffing my emotions. I knew smiling when I felt like crying. I knew toning myself down. I knew don't dare go for a dream. Don't step outside of the box. You're going to get judged. You're going to get minimized. People are going to say, who does she think she is? You know, stay small, stay against the wall. Don't ever come off the wall, because that was painful, right? I know, or I knew codependency. I knew how to fawn. I knew how to people please. You know, when I was really tired and terribly frustrated and was gaslighted and picked on to the point where I couldn't stuff my emotions anymore, I could be highly reactive. And the way that I got through life was in my head, racing all the time, ruminating and worrying, hurrying. And I think that hurry is related to scarcity and hurry is related to some type of fear, you know. And learning to just be a human being is so beautiful and it's so sacred, but it's also very freaking difficult. It is, you know, we are raised, so many of us are raised to believe that our worth is outside of us. So we're always seeking worth outside of us. So we're not traditionally, at least not in the States, and most of us are not raised to feel like we are enough from day one. And so, however, as human beings are on this planet to realize that they are enough. Why? So that they can fulfill their hearts and their spiritual desires in a time-space reality that is made of mass and matter. So you have come to create, and you need to be able to love yourself so that you can connect to the heart space, so that you can hear the voice and the needs and the desires and the wants of your spirit, so that you can develop the confidence needed to be able to express yourself through the physical plane. So what does that mean? That means that, you know, if you grew up in a home where, you were chastised for dancing, and yet more than anything, you want to dance, then you have been taught that actually going after your desire is painful. If you grow up in a home where, you know, your parents wanted you to become a doctor or a lawyer and you wanted to do something completely different, your brain might associate pain with coming off the wall, meaning going after your dreams. And your brain's just trying to protect you. It knows, and it's been downloaded with information that is tied to pain when it comes to manifesting your spirit's desire. That is not your fault. But I can assure you that you have been born, as have I, as are all creatures. We have all been born to do what a rose bush does. It's blossom and to bloom. That's what you were born to do. The problem is that our subconscious programming, or our childhood programming, as I like to call it, gets in the way. And we have to understand that the subconscious mind is much stronger than the conscious mind as long as we are unaware that the subconscious mind has these faulty beliefs in it. Because the conscious mind is actually creative and the subconscious mind is not creative. the subconscious mind is basically a warehouse of everything that you've experienced, good or bad. And, the guards at the door are pain versus pleasure. Oh, pain, we have to avoid that. Pleasure, let that in. Now, when it comes to abused adult children and children in general, or people in general, we don't recognize, if you've been abused, you may not recognize that your pleasure is not the kind of pleasure that somebody who was not traumatized in their childhood over and over and over and over and over experiences. So someone who doesn't have, a high ACE score, or someone who doesn't really have a significant trauma in their background, good for them. I mean, seriously, thank God there are people on this planet that don't have those experiences. But let's say, you're somebody who hasn't had those experiences. Your idea of pleasure is much different than an abused adult child's idea of pleasure. An abused adult child will associate pleasure with no more pain. That's not exactly pleasurable. So imagine that you live your life with your hand in a vice, right? And literally your hand is turning blue. And your idea of pleasure is just releasing the vice or a little less pain, right? That's why abused adult children settle for crumbs, because a crumb is like a 5-course meal to someone who's been starved of love and affection and nurturing their whole life. And that is why codependents and people who have been traumatized in their background are so susceptible to the charm of narcissistic people, because it doesn't take much to impress somebody who has felt so unseen and so unloved. This is why little girls who come from abusive homes and little boys who come from abusive homes, they will attract someone into their life experience pretty young, and they will have the ability, this partner will have the ability to abuse them, and they'll stay in the relationship because it represents some type of love and some type of attachment. And being alone trumps being with someone who's abusive. It all makes sense when you really take the time to process it. And so when you come from a home that doesn't allow for you to express yourself, you associate pain with expressing yourself. You associate pain with abundance, right? I'm not worthy of that. Something's wrong with me. I don't know what that something is. Maybe it's the color of my hair, or maybe it's the texture of my hair, or maybe my skin's too dark, or maybe my skin's too light. Maybe my nose is too big. Maybe my boobs are too small. Maybe my thighs are too big. Maybe they're too small. Maybe my butt's too small. Maybe it's too big. Maybe my hips are too big. Maybe they're too small. Maybe I walk funny. Maybe I smell funny. Maybe, it's the color of my eyes. Maybe I'm just not a good person. Maybe there's something really, really wrong with me inside. There's got to be something wrong with me inside, because nobody likes me and I can't get along with everybody. And the people that I love don't pay attention to me. They minimize me. There's got to be something wrong with me. It's important that we recognize that we have incarnated to experience abundance and love and non-resistance, really. So I'm getting goosebumps. If you think about a garden hose and you turn the garden hose on and the water just flows, that's the way energy is supposed to flow in the body. Now you think about a garden hose that has a bunch of kinks in it, right? That's how it feels to be a spiritual being that has energetic blocks due to faulty childhood programming and neural wiring. Your brain is actually wired for, trigger responses. Again, the brain's just trying to keep you safe. But outside of conscious awareness of what's happening in the brain and what's happening in the body, we're subject to what's happening, because the mind is so unconscious. And we need to have a spiritual awakening. We become aware when in the moment we've recognized that the moment before we were unaware. So none of us are aware that we're unaware until we become aware that we were once unaware. That's a tongue twister, but it's true. Like, I remember thinking, like, what? I can think about the way I think? What? Then I realized I've lived my life like a German Shepherd or a silverback gorilla, not questioning why the hell I'm doing what I'm doing or why I'm saying what I'm saying. It freaked me the hell out, dear ones. Like, where have I been? Seriously. And so the mind must be awakened to itself. and that's awareness. We have to discover the I, right? And that's why, sometimes I get criticized, it's like, I don't pay attention so much anymore. It's like everybody's entitled to an opinion and I don't have to defend myself. It's totally fine. I just speak from my heart. And if it resonates with people, that's wonderful. And if it doesn't, that's okay too, But I believe that it's very important that those of us who have been victimized say, I have been a victim of this. Because I feel that in that place that I claim, wow, I have been a victim, I find my I find myself. I find that aspect of me that has had this experience. And in those miraculous moments, I'm able to disidentify from the experience, from the shame, and from the blame of the experience. Once I say, I have been a victim of this crap and it's not my fault, I have found my I. Now, I have to work at increasing my awareness of my I, like who am I and what has happened to me. I have to work at that because that awareness is like a window and it can shut very, very quickly. So that is really the journey, staying aware of the I and not getting stuck in, victim, not getting stuck feeling like a victim, recognizing that this is my experience. It's not my fault. It happened to me. All of this crap that happened as a result of this experience that happened to me is not my fault, including the neural wiring that I'm wired for triggers, including reactivity, which is pattern behavior, including the lack of coping skills. I don't have coping skills. I wasn't taught coping skills. I was gaslighted and triangulated. Hello, my whole life, bullied as a child. Yeah, I'm super reactive. Shoot me. I mean, really. It could be no other way. It could be no other way. If my parents had no coping skills, they drank, they gambled, they cursed, they minimized, they yelled, they raged, they banged their fists, they threw things, they hit. Those are not coping skills. That's reactive behavior. And so if you struggle with not having coping skills, that's not your fault. But you have to understand that coping skills can be learned. They can be learned. So before you want to learn another language, you have to acknowledge that you don't know that language. So if you want to learn coping skills, the first thing that you have to do is acknowledge that you don't know those coping skills. Makes sense, right? No shame in that. You can't know something you don't know. When you're born, this beautiful, magnificent, amazing, miraculous spiritual being in an equally amazing human body. I mean, people, the human body is an amazing vehicle. It's your mothership. Seriously, it is your mothership. It connects you to Gaia. It is an electrical suit. It is a radio tower. It is taking in, like checking with frequencies, receiving frequencies, sending frequencies out, constantly reading the energies of other people. You poor thing, you may have been taught to disown the message of what you're feeling, or the way that you're processing the energy that you're receiving could be skewed because of childhood programming or not understanding the pain versus pleasure principle. All of that becomes a factor, which is really good information, right? As long as you stay on the healing path and you recognize how important it is to move forward with expanding your consciousness in this area. Very, very important, and acknowledging that this is the toughest work that you'll ever do. When you have been a being that's incarnated on this planet, a planet that is dense, it's made of matter, and the entire reason that you have been born is to flow with love and feel connected to love. Why? So that you can be one with your gifts, so that you can have the ability to have confidence in your gifts, so that you can see yourself, visualize yourself working with these gifts. Because when you're visualizing and you're in alignment with the gift and what you want to do, you experience manifestation. That's what happens. Now, when the opposite happens, which is what happens to a lot of us, right? Millions and millions and millions of people are born to alcoholics. Millions of people are born to disordered parents, parents who can't emotionally regulate themselves. Millions and millions of babies are born every year, a day, that are born to people who don't get it and who are abusive. It's just a reality. And I'm not a Debbie Downer at all. I'm trying to find the silver lining in this reality. Reality is that some people are highly abusive. If you are unfortunately born to somebody who has been abusive, or if you've been born to someone who's covertly abusive and you've been abused by omission. So instead of hearing, how was your day, Danny? How was your day, Mike? How was your day, Samantha? How was your day, Kathy? Oh, it was a rough day? You know what? Let's sit down on the couch. Let's talk about it. You know, oh, that's what they said to you? How did you feel when that happened? Oh, the teacher said that? Oh my goodness, you know, is this something that you need me to do? What's your homework look like today? Would you like some help with your homework? You know, we have plans this weekend. What do you feel? What do you think about doing this? What do you think about doing that? You know, fair rules, feeling loved, feeling protected, feeling nurtured. If you didn't receive that, then you may have, or you didn't receive medical care, or if you didn't receive an emotional connection or an emotional attunement, if you felt like you were invisible, that's abusive, because you deserve to feel visible and seen, and you deserve to feel safe and like your home was, what was going on in your home was predictable. And if you didn't receive that, it is not your fault that you cannot connect to the love that you are, and you cannot access the spirit that you are, and you cannot integrate and have yourself, have your life be a living physical manifestation of that which you are on a divine level. You can't do it. Not your fault. But there is a silver lining, because you can be taught how to do that, which is really, really cool. Now, the reason so many of us feel off is because we're living in opposition to how we're supposed to be living. We're supposed to be living abundantly. We're supposed to be prospering. We're supposed to feel healthy. We're supposed to be healthy. We're supposed to be responsible. We're supposed to be able to be humble. But when you've got a lot of shame going on, it's really hard to be humble, because the ego doesn't want to let go. The ego wants to say, no, that's not my reality. No, I'm not going to look there, because it's just too painful. The moral of the story, dear one, is if you feel off, if you feel, I know I felt crazy. I don't like using that word, but I literally was like, I think I'm crazy, because everybody else seemed happy around me. And when I dared to complain or say, you know, maybe we shouldn't talk to each other like this, or maybe that would have been nice if that happened, or why is that happening? I was seen as the negative one. Literally, oh, she's so negative. She's such a negative person. I was trying to make sense out of what didn't make sense, right? I just, the things that happened in my life just didn't make sense. The disrespect between my siblings and I, the disrespect between my parents and myself, like the being called the C word by my uncle. Are you kidding me? Like, this is insane. Being gaslighted by my godfather. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? My ex-husband, why are you taking the side of this complete stranger? I am your wife. I take care of you, dude. Like, I cook for you. I clean your socks. Like, you know, I buy your barbasol. Like, everything that you need, I make sure that you have. Why are you taking the side of people you'll never see again? Or why are you minimizing me in front of other people? Why are you disrespecting me? It just didn't make sense, right? I just always felt like life should be easy. You know, when you love somebody, it should be easy. Love is sacred. And we throw that word around like it's you know, like it's trash. Like, love is sacred. Love is sacred. And the greatest love that you can achieve and experience in your lifetime is the love of self, right? And once you finally get past all the childhood programming, you know, and you're like, and you move past it, and you know that it's a bunch of BS, and you're working really hard and you're reprogramming your mind, you know, and that brings me to my next point, really, really cool. And you've studied meditation, and you're meditating, and you're learning how to be in your own skin, and you're using self-care, and you're setting personal boundaries with yourself, right? You know what you can say and shouldn't say, and what you should engage in and not engage in, and you're holding yourself responsible. You know, like, if you drink too much, then you recognize, I'm drinking too much, I'm hanging out with people who drink too much. This doesn't end well. It never ends well. So I'm going to peel that back. You know, I'm going to detox. You know, I spend way too much time on social media when I should be at work, when I should be doing my work at work. I'm just not going to do that anymore. Living with integrity. If you want to feel good about yourself, live with integrity. That is amazing. If you feel out of alignment with something that you're doing, don't do it anymore. Like, start your day off tomorrow with a beautiful meditation, my meditation or anybody else's, calm your thoughts down, light a beautiful candle, have something really, really nutritious to eat, slow your mind down, and get out your journal and figure out, what are you doing that is in opposition to how you want to live? Do you curse when you don't want to curse? I curse. Sometimes I curse too much, but I'm working on that. Do you, like I said, are you on social media when you shouldn't be? Then pull yourself off. Do you text and drive? Don't do that. Do you drink too much? Consider not doing that. Do you take care of people so that they need you and they never leave you and that you feel good about yourself? Peel that back. Know that you're enough. Do you take care of yourself financially, or do you spend money you don't have? Do you overshare? Do you overshare and then want people to feel sorry for you? Like, try not to do that. It's about living with integrity, right? And it's about recognizing why you were born. And you were born to flow with love, but you have to connect to love. And it's really, really difficult. And that's why I'm so passionate about my work, because the message has to hit the heart of somebody who's never felt love. And if you're watching this channel, you were meant to hear this message, which is really cool. But in addition to that, if you're watching this channel, chances are you might be somebody who has never felt love. You feel disconnected from love, right? So remember the garden hose analogy. That's what love feels like. It's just constant. You become a channel of love. Once you connect to the love that you are, you become a channel of love. It's difficult to be mean to other people when you've become that channel. It's difficult not to love people. It's just a beautiful way to be. Even when people are not being loving to you, you can still be loving. It's absolutely amazing. The goal is to learn how to be a human being, and it's really hard to do when you're always judging yourself because you felt judged and you've never gained the love that you needed from home. And because you never gained that love, you have assumed somewhere in your history that it was your fault. It's not your fault. It's never a child's fault when they don't feel loved, ever. And so you may have grown up feeling disconnected from love. And when you feel disconnected from love, you're disconnected from source. You're disconnected from, you're connected to source, but you're not consciously connected to source. Like, you're not consciously aware that you're connected to source. You feel miles away from divinity, even though it's really just a window away. It's about awareness. It's about opening up your awareness. It's about some cognitive skills, right? And it's about learning to embrace what is. Keep hitting my earbuds. Ow. It's about learning to embrace what is rather than pushing it away, right? Loving who you are. I would like to suggest that meditation is the one thing that you can use immediately, like pronto, to help you do what? Slow down your mind. Why? Because most of us are ruminating and obsessing, and the rumination is the result of subconscious programming. But here's the kicker when it comes to the matrix. When you are ruminating, you're creating images in your mind, right? The pineal gland has rods and cones in it, just like the natural human eye. And it lights up. It's bioluminescent. Incredible, serious stuff. And if you want to read more about that, you can read my book, Quantum Tools to Help You Heal Your Life Now. You'll learn more about that. So what happens is these pictures that we have, that we're creating in our minds, we're projecting it out into the matrix. These pictures are actually sewing together in a magical, metaphysical way matter that matches that reality. That's why, we can feel like we think we're doing everything right, but the same crap just keeps showing up in our reality, right? Because we haven't changed the pictures in our head. Now, we have to learn how to do that work. And one of the things that can help you do that work is meditation. I know, listen, if you're like me, you're on YouTube like most of the day. You're watching videos, you go from this video to that video looking for something. But here's the thing. The hippocampus is responsible for short-term memory. Now, in order for you may have had a lot of aha moments, and I hope that you have. I'm just trying to clear up the energies of the planet by spreading love and light, and I hope that it hits your heart and your mind. But here's the thing. You have to respect how the brain works. So information, you hear it, you have an aha moment, it's in the hippocampus for a very short time. We need it to be transferred to the neocortex for long-term memory, so you change forever. Why? So that your neural programming changes. Why? So that subconsciously you change. Why? So that the subconscious programs, the subconscious pictures that are stored in the subconscious mind change. So that the information streaming to your pineal gland is abundance, and it's no more lack and no more scarcity. Meditation can help you do that. Believe it when I tell you. It takes practice, it takes commitment. When I first started meditating, I went and I could not shut my mind off. It took me like 20 minutes for my mind to just relax, right? So I would say go for a longer meditation. Go for 30 minutes, go for 40 minutes. Totally okay to fall asleep during a meditation, totally fine. I would wake up after 30 minutes, and if I sat up, it sounds so silly, but it's true. I sat up on my couch, because I used to meditate on my couch, and I would sit up, and if I heard my mind like racing, I was just like, okay, time for another one. I would lay down, put my earbuds in, I would do another meditation for another 20 or 30 minutes. And once I sat up, what I was looking for was peace, like an empty room, right? When I sat up from a meditation, my mind just started rambling again, I was like, nope, not done yet. And I would lay down and I would do another meditation. And eventually, doing this over and over and over and over, I can actually have an empty mind. And that is mindfulness, right? You're full of your mind, but it's empty. It's kind of weird, right? It's like an oxymoron. But oftentimes Anthony will ask me, what are you thinking about? And I'll say nothing. And he's like, how is that possible? I'm not thinking about anything. Like the blackboard in my mind is empty. I am in the moment, and I am appreciating the trees, or I am appreciating the sun. You know, I'm just feeling in the moment how beautiful this moment is. And meditation was the gateway to that experience, and being able to connect to the love that is within me and the love that is absolutely within you. It's the same love. And we're all trying to hook up with the mothership. Love is the reason we're here. And I think a big secret that we miss is that the heart needs love. In order for a human being's mind to develop well, and the body to develop well, and for social connections to be able to happen, and in order for integration to happen, the heart needs love. And if you think about children who are removed from love very early, and then we want to say that they have anxiety disorders, or they have borderline personality disorder, they have this disorder. You know what? It's just my opinion. My opinion is that because love was out of order, now there is disorder, but that's not our fault. Now, if we reverse engineer, right, and we return to love, we find a way to return to love, then we can bring order back to our bodies and back to our minds and back to our lives. And then we can live out the rest of our lives knowing that, you know, time is limited, but at least we're making the best out of every moment. And at least, which is everything, we're finally lining up with the spirit being that we are, and we're finally making real in the 3D world what is metaphysical in our heart space. And that is the whole purpose of being born. So my hope is that as you return more deeply to love, you feel less out of whack, you feel less crazy, and you feel more whole and more sane. Thank you for being here with me, dear one, and thank you for being open to love and to light. Namaste, as I bow to the love and the light that is absolutely in you. Bye for now. Namaste, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me for this video. And if you love this information and you want more, check out the Breakthrough Warrior membership site. It's a monthly membership. You can cancel at any time, and you gain access to programs, journaling prompts, assessments, and videos. And you also gain access to an online community through Facebook, where I give monthly live calls and I interact with members live. So if you want more of this information, check it out. Namaste. Bye for now.